Hi, I'm Alicia McLean, and I'm an executive leadership coach, and I work with organizations and agility. So I'm here today to tell you a bit about my public workshop, Beyond the User Story. I've been a product owner, and I've coached this role over the past decade or so, and I've developed this course based on the patterns I've seen, the impacts to organizations that I've found, and the struggles that I've seen the people that are in these roles really having as they try to navigate the role, navigate the organization, work with the team, and really bring value to the organization. The thing that's a little challenging about this role of the product owner is it's a little bit of an enigma, a bit confusing. It could be a bit like a puzzle for folks. There isn't really a rule book or a manual, and training like certification courses really focuses on a lot of the basics, some of the foundations, and that's great because when you don't have that, you definitely need it. But things like how to write a user story is really the first step in this role. This role is so much more. In my experience, the product owner role aids agility by understanding their role, for one, having focused on priorities in the organization and understanding what that is for the organization, the impact and how important it is, and then also leading with empathy and transparency. These are the three pillars of how the product owner role can contribute to that agility in organizations. But I'll tell you, it starts with a mindset shift. It starts with a mindset shift in the role of the product owner, the roles surrounding the product owner, the system that the product owner is navigating through, so your organization. All of this is critical for the success of the product owner. And understanding the power and importance of this role and its impact on agility is so key. So where do we start? If I'm a product owner and I know some of those basics, I understand how to write a user story, I understand what a product backlog is, I know how to spell Scrum or Agile, whatever the phrases are that you're using in your organization. Now what? Because honestly, I need to go beyond that. And so that's why I created my course. My course is called Beyond the User Story. It's typically a public workshop, but it can be private. I've done it both ways. I've had it in a public forum. I've had it private for companies where it's just their people in the class. So there's a myriad of ways that we can structure this so that it best serves your needs. And to give you a little bit more about the structure, this kind of is a high level 30,000 foot view, if you will, of the agenda. It's broken up into two modules, Module 1 and Module 2. Module 1 is kind of like day one of the in-person class. It was a 2-day in-person class, and now since we're in this virtual setting, we've got Module 1 and Module 2. And so in Module 1, we go through an overview of the class. We set up structures to help us have a successful set of outcomes. And in that, the product owner really can pick up some great facilitation techniques, take some notes about how we're structuring things so that they can structure meetings and forums to have the same sort of success. We go through a refresher of Agile and Scrum. And honestly, I've had people close their book and say, I'm good. I've been a product owner for 5 years, and just this bit has helped me get my money's worth. So the refresher of Agile and Scrum is there to help them not only understand their role, but how does this role fit in the system of agility and Scrum, and how do they navigate and operate with the other roles? We talk next about terminology, and I find that people can be in a role of a product owner for years and have all these terms swirling around their head. And not only do they not understand the terms, because oftentimes they're used in conflicting ways in organizations, they don't understand how that term applies to their role. And that's what I cover in this section. Here's the top 10 terms, and here's why it's important for you as a product owner. Then we talk a bit about role clarity. This introduces the other roles in Scrum that they will frequently encounter, helps them understand kind of the challenges and the benefits of these other roles and how to navigate those roles for success. And then we wrap up Module 1 with a day in the life. And this navigates through all of the events, artifacts, and roles associated with a Scrum-like process and helps the product owner walk away with not only understanding those events, but how should they show up, what should they prepare for, and how can they be engaged. Now, one thing that's not listed on here that I will be covering is a competency model. A couple of years ago, I was doing an in-person class or a private class for a client, and I was talking about the competency model that Agile coaches have. And one of the attendees said, boy, it would sure be great if a product owner had a competency model. And I said, yeah, you're right. And she looked at me and she says, you should create one. And I was like, yeah, you're right, I should. And so I've done so much work in this area. I have developed a competency model. And so at the end of module 1, we will cover that competency model, and we'll talk about each one of those areas, what competencies are needed and what are the resources that are available for them to help them in their next level of study beyond the course. So that's module 1. Module 2, even though it looks brief, like it's only 3 little bullet points here, it's actually a very full and robust section. Module 2 kicks off with a toolkit, and in that toolkit, we talk about levels of planning, the concept of the product backlog, user stories, some advanced techniques with that, the definition of ready, so this idea of readiness for planning, story mapping, and a few other concepts are in the toolkits. When you think about a tool belt and what the product owner will pull out of their pocket, this is what we'll be talking about there. And the next thing on our module 2, and really the thing that I believe distinguishes my trainings, is this concept of leadership expectations. What's important about this leadership role as a product owner? I talk about it throughout, but in module 2, I really focus in on a few key things that are so important for the product owner. One of those is is the stakeholder. Really understanding the stakeholder and how to navigate working with the stakeholder in your organization for success. Talking more about concepts like refinement, and some people refer to that as grooming, and some of the activities around prioritization. So important. We do stakeholder analysis here as well. And then we also talk about empathy. Empathy is such an important skill for a product owner to have. We talk about it from a tactical sense and from an emotional intelligence sense, and how to have success in your role as you navigate your organization towards those outcomes. And then finally, we have a wrap up. This is the wrap up of the 2-day program, or the 2-module program. We wrap up with some people sharing what they learned, some ahas, and action plans. Of course, we wouldn't have a course without some a coaching plan that says, hey, here's some steps I'm going to take next. Here are the people I need to talk to. Here are the things that I need to negotiate or renegotiate. So some real action planning coming out of this. And then I wrap up with just a great list of resources, whether they're books, podcasts, pointing these product owners to some things that can help them navigate their next steps. So that's module 1 and module 2, divided up over a couple of days, and we'll see that when we get to the schedule. So here's our schedule. Module 1, this is the fall class that's happening. Module 1, you see here is a 3-day, 8:30 to noon. I found that this amount of time is a perfect amount of time for people to get into class mode and not just run from meeting to meeting mode. They have a real opportunity to dive into the material, and they have a bit of a break before the next session and a break before the next module. And what's great about that is it gives them time to sort of marinate in the material, think about it, go out in the organization and find some things. I give them some activities to do in between classes to give them, and these are lightweight activities to kind of keep them in the game, keep them thinking, keep them learning. And it's really pretty exciting time for them. And so you see the dates for module 1, module 2, this is the fall class that's going to be kicking off. And next, let's talk about your investment. And here's the thing, you know, when your product owners are in a place where they are just really stumbling through the organization, trying to find ways to be successful, there's a lot of cost to that. And so when you invest this bit of time in folks, it really has a major payoff. We'll talk about what's included next, but this is a breakdown of the very early bird pricing, which ends tomorrow, I believe. What's today? It does. It ends tomorrow. So you want to jump on that if you're interested in the early bird pricing, or excuse me, the very early bird pricing. And then we have early bird pricing, and there's a few spots that are open for that. And then once that's over, we go into standard pricing. The example that you see down here on the bottom left is for a team of 12 at the standard pricing rate. So what's included in this? So it's not just a dual module program over a few days. We also have an everything DISC productive conflict assessment. That's for each person. They have an opportunity to take this assessment as well as have a coaching debrief and action planning session, virtual facilitated sessions, weekly access to their coach and trainer, training guides, training supplies, and an Agile team reboot, which is super exciting. I'll put a link to that in the materials that you'll get. This is an exciting time to kind of reset the team, and that's what that's for. And then an invitation to my exclusive LinkedIn community for product owners and people that are alumni of my course. So those are those are all the great things that come with this session. And so that is quite a value. So what's next for you? If you've got questions about it, actually there's 33 days left before this class starts. And with the mail being slow, you want to make sure that you get your registrations in right now, because there's things that are going to be mailed out to folks who are registered for the course. So that'll be very important to get from them. If you've got questions, go ahead and email me. If you want more information, you can click on my YouTube video. This is an interview where I talk about this class, and you might find some additional insights there. And then, of course, we have the registration link down at the bottom. So listen, thanks for listening. I look forward to having your folks join my class, and we'll see you in the fall.